thought this was very interesting because both me and you read King Lear this year for English class, and it was
Yes, I
very
hated that
interesting.
one.
You hated
Yes,
it?
but
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Dead Film Critics Society podcast. Today, as always, I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Aiden Billing. Make sure to go check him out on Instagram at GBD Reviews. Make sure to go check out my channel at Reviewing. Very much appreciate that. I think let's just jump right into it as always with a quick trivia question. I'll do mine first. Aiden, what Academy Awards were the two films we're talking about today nominated for at the Oscars? It's a total of 5, 1 for Nightcrawler and 4 for Ran.
okay. I don't know. I think I know Rand was nominated for costume design, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep, you got that.
And I know Nightcrawler was nominated for screenplay,
Yep, you got that.
original screenplay, I should say.
Yep.
Was it score for Rand as well?
No, that was not one of them. There's still 3
Cinematography.
more. Yep, you got cinematography.
Okay. Best actor,
No,
best adapted screenplay.
no.
I would have thought because it's based on King Lear.
Yeah,
Huh.
man. Yeah, scripts and other
Okay, I give
languages.
up. What are the other ones?
The other ones are director and production design.
Okay.
You were
Sorry.
doing pretty well though. I'm like the costume one. So 1 costumes actually.
Yeah.
Which
Makes sense. The costumes are
makes a
brilliant
lot of
in
sense.
that
Yeah,
film.
they're very important and they're very well done.
Ooh, yeah.
They're very
Yes.
they pop.
Is there?
Yeah. So
All
what's
right.
your trivia question?
My question for you is: this is also kind of about Ran. I want to ask you, the director Akira Kurosawa,
Yeah.
what was the name of his last film that he released shortly before his death? Well, and when I say shortly, I mean like 5 years before.
See, it might be this one because I know this is one of his later works, if not his last. So I'm gonna say Ran because I don't know any of his other movies.
No, actually, his last film was in 1993, and he died in 1998, and it was called just trying to see how you pronounce that. I believe it says Madadeo, and it's the English translation is Not Yet. It's a comedy film.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I knew this was one of his last works, or maybe his last grand work. I know he's
yeah.
done a lot of movies. He was doing this for a long time before he passed. He's a legend. Anyways, let's get into some news. I'll start off with one piece from Marvel Studios confirming
Yes.
a lot of release dates and giving us.
Damn
a
it, that was
glimpse-
most of my news.
Oh, that was also your
Shit.
news, of course. I should have figured.
Yeah.
Giving us
Yeah.
a glimpse at Eternals for a little bit.
Yes.
Looks solid.
Yeah.
I saw some people kind of trashing on it on Twitter, but whatever. I think it looks good. I think the castle thing in that one shot looks very interesting. The blue thing. You can also tell that they definitely shot it on location. That was made pretty clear. And
Okay,
yeah,
well, I do appreciate that more than just a big green screen environment, you know?
yeah. So
Yeah, nothing beats real cinematography.
yeah, I don't want to judge it at all based on like a 12-second teaser, but I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Of course, we already have Shang-Chi and Black Widow. Black Widow comes out July, Shang-Chi September, Eternals November, and then Spider-Man No Way Home December 25th, along with their other projects. Black Panther's title was announced. Wakanda Forever.
Yeah,
Will be the second film.
pretty solid.
Yeah.
That was definitely
We
the most
also
fitting
have
title. I don't know what else you could have called it. To be
Yeah,
honest.
Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
That name's been out for a while, though.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I know.
then you got
I'm just-
the Marvels as well.
But that's also 2022. The Marvels
Yeah.
is early 2023, I believe.
No,
Ant-Man
it says
Quantum.
November 11, 2022.
Oh,
I got it right here. Yeah.
okay. And then then Ant-Man Quantumania, I'm pretty sure is early 2023. And then is
Yes,
there
you are
one other
correct.
one?
Same with Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And then Fantastic Four doesn't have one, but it's been announced to be directed by Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home director John Watts. So,
That's a good call. Fuck, he did a good job with Spider-Man.
he's managed to make those successful and liked movies. So hopefully he can make Fantastic Four one.
Swear to God, if they screw up the Fantastic Four one more time, how hard can it be? Like, they're one of the most iconic superhero teams of all time, and the only film adaptations we've gotten so
They should
far.
have hired
have
Brad
been-
Bird. He did The
Yeah.
Incredibles.
Yeah, they've just
Even
been
though his
so
live action
fucking
stuff
like
hasn't been as good as his
terrible.
animation stuff. But, anyways,
Yeah, yeah.
what is your piece of news? Because I know you have at least one other one, right?
Well, that my piece of news was actually talking about
Oh,
you know, the movies, but that's all right. I think I have some other ones here. Just I'll have to look at my notes. So I guess you can cut this out in a second.
I
Oh, actually, yeah, no, I got it. Never mind.
okay.
Sorry. So this is about yesterday. Yesterday was Star Wars Day,
Yeah,
and the first episode of the new TV series, The Bad Batch, came out. I don't know. Have you seen it yet? Do
I
you
have
want
not. I have not checked it out because I
to?
canceled the
Okay, well,
Disney
I saw
Plus.
it,
Yeah,
and I need to quickly discuss. I'm not going to go into spoilers, obviously, because
yeah.
it's a
And
very long episode. It's like an hour and 16 minutes long for a
what?
first. I know, right? I was like, oh my
Really?
God, this is amazing. Yeah,
Jeez. What? That's
yeah,
like that's a movie technically. That could be a
I
feature film
know.
if you release it that
And
way. What the
apparently, it's
heck?
going to be like a long show. There's going to be 16 episodes in total. So,
If they're
yeah,
all like an hour long, wow.
I hope that
That's
it would be nice if they're all an
that's
hour long.
definitely
But my
different. Yeah,
God,
that's
that's a long
interesting for
time
sure.
anime.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I gotta say, I love the first episode. I think it's gonna be exploring a lot of really cool areas of the Star Wars universe. Like we get to see some returning characters from like the films and like earlier on in the Clone Wars, because this picks up right after the final episode of the Clone Wars, essentially, right, and right after Revenge of the
Yeah.
Sith ends, right. We see a little bit more of Order 66 from the perspective of the title characters, the Bad Batch, which is kind of interesting. These are clones who have more like independence than like the majority of regular clones, right?
Yeah.
Because they were genetically modified. And I'm really excited because apparently they're going to be like this kind of like mercenary team going around like fucking
Hmm.
just taking jobs. It's kind of almost going to be like an animated version of The Mandalorian, except like there's going to be four badasses instead of just one, to be honest. So
Right.
I'm really excited.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
interesting.
anyways, I don't want to spend too much time on that.
Yeah,
I
for
just I
sure. Yeah,
mentioned
I'll
that.
definitely
Yeah.
have to check that out eventually. I'm not too
Yeah.
anxious to, but
Bro.
I definitely will eventually.
Yeah.
So Olivia Wilde, director of Booksmart, which you haven't seen
Yes.
yet, I'm pretty sure, right?
No.
Yeah, you need to
No.
see that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she's has a lot of projects being announced, but recently she cast somebody, Thomas and Mackenzie specifically, for a biopic called Perfect, which is about Carrie Strung, who is a member of the I'm trying to something. It's like the Perfect Team or something of that matter that won gold. The team, the United States women's gymnastics team that won gold, I think in 1986, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quickly looked on I might as well mention that. Apparently, I don't know if it's going to be part of the movie, but what she's most acclaimed for is doing one performance with injured ankle and having to be carried to the podium by her coach. So
Really.
yeah, it sounds like an interesting one. I think Thomas Mackenzie is a great actress. She's got a few projects coming up, including The Power of the Dog, from Jane Campion, Old from M Night Shyamalan, and
Yep.
Last Night in Soho from Edgar Wright. So I'm excited for all of those to some degrees. M Night is an interesting director. He's probably the least
Hmm.
forward, but I'm still interested to see how she does in those projects. So
Yeah. Of
it's
course.
great that she's gotten another project to do, which sounds very cool. Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Glad Olivia Wilde's also doing a bunch of stuff because I liked Booksmart, and I think she's maybe trying to lean into the more, trying to find her own voice as a director, which I think a lot of actor directors kind of struggle to do. So it looks like she's heading that way, which is cool.
Yeah.
I'll quickly mention this. Apple has made another Tom Hanks film called Bios, or it was used to be called Bios. Now it's called Finch. It's supposed to release an award season, even though I don't really see it really getting anything.
Hmm.
Unless Tom gives an amazing performance, so there's some technical aspect they can admire. Like he did Greyhound this past year, which did get a sound nomination. So
Yeah.
it's not impossible, but
It could be alright. I mean,
something I
like,
mentioned.
I'm always down
Uh,
for a small Tom Hanks performance.
yeah. So a couple of 4Ks have been announced to come out. Like 4K Blu-rays, specifically
Yes.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original
Oh,
one.
okay.
Um,
Good. I was just
along
making sure
with
it wasn't.
along with a date hasn't been set for this one, but Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which got a re-release in theaters, with the new Dolby mix of the sound, which is really interesting.
Oh, okay.
Which I wish I could have
Yeah.
saw, and we probably could have seen if we weren't shut down, you know.
Yeah, if our government actually knew how
Yeah.
to fucking get the vaccines out, but
Yeah, I
it is what
mean,
it is.
it is.
You know?
Yeah, it is what it is. You know, other countries are struggling more than us, so for some, you know, at
Yeah.
least we can afford to stay home. So, you know,
Yeah.
let's always be grateful for that. Anyways, Steven Spielberg's, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, his like childhood project movie is getting a title. It's going to be called The Fablemans. So I'm assuming that's going to
Sounds gay.
be his like pseudo last name for his like his family. It's, you know, because
Solid
obviously it'd be a
stuff.
bit weird to actually call all the characters by the names of the people in real life. You know, and probably they're going to make some stuff up, of course. So
Oh, so this is going to be like an 8 Mile situation almost. Like, the main
a
character is going
little
to be
bit. It's kind of like
loosely
Minari. I don't
based
know
off
if
of
you
himself.
Minari. You know, the characters and
Yeah.
like because the director, it was basically about him because Jacob was his like he was playing Stephen Yun was playing like his father character, and then Alan Kim, David was playing him. So he just kind of renamed him, reincarnated himself as a character called David, who was played by Alan Kim in that movie. And a lot of this stuff
Okay.
is based on his actual childhood experience moving to Arkansas, and you know all that. And you know if you haven't seen Minari, check it out. But it should be somewhat like that, I'm assuming. But you know it's Spielberg,
Yeah,
so I'm
that's gonna
assuming
be
it's
cool.
going to be grandiose in some way. You know he always
Yeah.
has something. Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal are teaming up to produce Finding the Mother Tree, and Adams is going to be starring in it. It's an adaptation of a Suzanne Simard memoir. I don't know who that is. I'll look that up later, and maybe I'll mention it next episode. And then lastly, Mads Mikkelsen shed some light on the Indiana Jones 5 script, saying, "It was everything I wished it to be." So, you know, and that's pretty high praise from a man who's worked with, you know, great directors such as, you know, Thomas Vinterberg.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Honestly,
I'm
we
trying to,
we already know this guy's about
yeah.
the villain. I don't even care if the rest
Yeah.
of the movie's good. He's always been good in whatever role he's got. To be honest, I
Yeah.
mean, like
Yeah, I think
just
he's pretty great.
one of the definitive like male like actors who's just consistently good.
Mm-hmm.
Along with Tom Hanks these days as well.
Yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
mean, it's very hard to play a consistently good villain in every movie you're in, pretty much. I mean, and even when he's the good guy, when he occasionally breaks out of typecast, he's really good as well. Like I liked him in Rogue One. He was probably one of the better parts of that film,
Mm-hmm.
actor wise, because the acting was sort of weak in that film, but he did a
Right.
good job. And
Yeah.
I still need to see another round.
Yeah, for
So.
sure. You definitely need to see that, especially before they make
Wait,
the...
is Steven Spielberg coming back to direct Indiana Jones 5? I need to know that right now. Is
That's a good question. I don't think so.
he? Oh.
I would assume no. Because he has a lot
Is he
of...
going to be involved? Or him
Like
and
I
George
said,
Lucas
he has that
involved?
project called The Fablemans. He's also doing this play adaptation with Mark Rylance. So he's got a couple other projects on his plate. So I'm assuming someone else will take the helm. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure it's James Mangold, if I remember correctly.
Okay, well that's fair. But is,
Yeah.
is George Lucas gonna be involved at least as well? Because those
That
two
is
worked
also
on
a
it
good
together.
question. Again, I don't know. I don't know.
I hope so. Because I mean, like, I feel like George Lucas is way better as
at
like a
writing
writer.
Indiana Jones.
I mean,
than
like,
he
I know
was
his
at-
writing can sometimes be shaky, but when
Yeah,
he's writing
Star
with a
Wars
team,
prequels.
just by himself and directing, he's actually really good. I mean, like, you saw that with what's it called, American Graffiti in 1972. Like,
Yeah.
that film got nominated for a ton of Oscars. So, I mean, like, he's got the capability. He just,
Yeah.
he needs a bit more guidance, right?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I don't know what George is doing these days.
Fingers
I know,
crossed.
but Matt saying the
Thinking
script is
Sub-Zero.
good makes me hopeful that first of all, I need to see the other Indiana Jones movies, but that this one will also be good once
I can't believe you haven't yet,
manage to
man.
see
Honestly,
it.
this is just unfucking believable. Like you're the thing you can't believe I've seen all the fucking 2020 Oscar nominated films, and I still can't believe you haven't seen Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure how. I haven't looked into how to watch them yet, so I'll figure that out.
I got lucky though because I have all of them on DVD box set, including Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which I'm not proud of, but I gotta complete.
Just complete the collection, I guess. It's a
Yeah.
completionist thing. It's like having the first two Godfathers. You might as well have the third, even though that one definitely drops in quality, kind of thing, right? That kind of mentality. Yeah. Let's go into the trailer reaction I have planned for us today. We're going to be reacting to a movie called Annette. It stars Adam Driver and Marianne Cotillard. The director directed Holy Motors. He's a French director. So this film's going to be in partly French and English, apparently. So it's going to be premiering at Cannes. So this is getting a little bit of Oscar hype specifically for the performances. Could maybe do even more, but let's check out this trailer because I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, hopefully my grade 10 French education will come in handy trying to understand this.
First time I fell in love. Woke up next to the girl and escaped fast and far. But Anne has changed me. What I see in her is obvious. What she sees in me,
but
it's a little more puzzling.
1, 2, 3, 4. So may we start.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention it's
oh, it is.
Yeah.
This is my baby.
What the hell is he doing with the excuse me? Lob him over the fence.
I totally forgot. That's the guy from freaking Big Bang Theory. The other.
Jeez, Adam Driver's looking a lot more trim there than he was in The Last Jedi. What the hell? Man's actually looking solid. Cool. Got an LA County Jail jumpsuit on.
Yeah,
right? So
that's true. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think of it? I thought it was very interesting because I haven't seen this before.
looks
I
weird.
heard
I
that
just
it was
I want to
interesting.
see that baby get yeeted though. I'm sorry.
You think the baby's gonna get yeeted, or
I want to see it happen. Honestly.
You think it's? Yeah, it definitely looks eccentric, which you kind of expect from a French director most of the time. It's really, like I said, the guy from the Big Bang Theory's there, who also was in. Oh no, it's interesting because he played a sort of similar musical role in like Florence Foster Jenkins. I don't know if you ever heard of that movie. Meryl Streep got nominated for that. But, I mean, she gets nominated for almost everything.
Is that about the chick who
can't sing? Yeah,
people make
but Hugh Grant makes her think that she can, and tricks and says everyone, she can sing. Okay, here's a 20 or whatever, kind of thing. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. It looks like it could be an acting vehicle for them, Adam Driver and Mary Cotillard. And maybe there's another aspect that's really well done. I don't know, maybe the cinematography definitely looked interesting. So who knows? This could be a breakout hit for the director who, he's gotten a good amount of acclaim for his other movies like Holy Motors, but he's never been close to the Oscar race. But having Adam Driver and Mary Cotillard in your movies definitely helps. So interesting.
Yeah, those are two of the best actors, I think, in this generation, to be honest. I think they're fantastic. I don't called what's that movie she's in? It's about Edith Piaf. I'm just trying to remember the film name. It doesn't matter. But
Anyways.
if you haven't seen that, sorry.
No, I don't know who that is either.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a biopic. She's like a French singer, and Marion Cotillard starred in that. So yeah.
Like the one she won an Oscar for?
Yeah.
La Vie en Rose? Was that it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I thought I was confused with that. Yeah, she won an Oscar for that.
Oh, it's okay. No
I do
worries.
know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get into our tier list of the day. Today we're doing. I don't know. Aiden already saw. I don't know if you saw. We'll see. Denis Villeneuve.
He won't see.
Ranked tier list. Let me bring that up real quick, and then start to talk about it a little.
Is this new tier list making it?
No, this is a different display thing. I realize there's a presentation mode, so
Dude, this looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks better, I'd say, than before. The ads are taken out, which is quite helpful. Let's start from this side and work our way here. Prisoners.
Just haven't seen that one, obviously.
So you haven't seen that. So I guess it's up to me. I really like Prisoners. I think it's maybe one of the best murder mystery kind of films / mystery films, thrillers ever made. Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman give amazing performances. It's extremely well shot. I mean, it's Roger Deakins. What the hell do you expect? But it's one of the better shot films from him. Denis' direction is amazing. It's not a stupid, a lot of murder mysteries / mystery films can get into stupid territory. This one never does. And even though it does have a somewhat simple resolution in a way, it's very smart and patient and professional at how it goes about that. So, I don't know. I don't know if I'd say it's a masterpiece, but I definitely need to put it, it's maybe one of my favorite films, but I can see it just being a must-see. I don't, I'll put it must-see. Maelstrom. See, I also haven't seen that. I know you haven't.
I haven't seen this one.
I've been trying. I'm going to watch it soon. However, I've heard okay things about it. So, I'm going to put it in the good tier list. Only because I think that's probably where I'll end up putting it. I might I'll maybe tell you guys where I put it later. Let's go to Incendie.
Love this one.
This is a
Fantastic.
very, very well-made film. The acting's very good. I don't love the story. I think the story is very well done. I don't think there's any... Again, very professional, very well done and refined script. However, I don't think it impacts me as much as sometimes Prisoner does. But I think it's still a very good movie. Where do you want to put this scene?
I think we should put it great. I don't think it's... I mean, I've heard that Prisoners... I did like this one. Yeah,
I think Incendie maybe objectively is better than Prisoners, potentially, but I think they're both good. I think... I kind of want to put in must-see only because I do... the must-see thing. I think you should see almost everything he's made. But I think, great can work. Because I think I do like Prisoners better. And but you should see Incendie if you haven't. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Blade Runner 2049.
I love this film, actually. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. So I didn't get to see it in theaters, which I feel is a little bit of a hindrance on a film like this. Because it's very much made for theaters.
I didn't see it in theaters, but I
did
see it on my TV with the lights off, so it was pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar experience. Well, I might have watched it on DVD instead of Blu-ray, though, so I might not even watched it in HD. However, it's still a very good movie.
I think it's great. I don't know if it's a must-see. I mean, because people certainly aren't clamoring to watch it, but I think it was a great...
Yeah, I think it's in the great tier. I think... Yeah, I don't know if it's a must-see from everyone. Because I think some people won't like Incendie because it can get a little dark. I think Prisoners does also get dark, but I think it's something that almost everyone should see. But, Blade Runner, again, is kind of like that. I think Incendie and Blade Runner I could accept an argument that they're better than Prisoners, but I think that less people will like those two. And I think, personally, it's only great for me as well. I don't think it's a must-see either. So, this is called... This 32nd of August. It's his first film. He made it in a competition thing. Apparently it's okay. Again, I think this is available on Apple Rent if you're interested in. I'm going to put it at decent for now. It might be underwhelming. We'll have to see. I don't think any of his films are bad or trash, definitely. And I don't think this one will be either. I don't think it'll be bad. It's got okay scores from what I've seen. But let's move into Arrival.
Okay, I love this one.
I also really like this movie. I think Arrival, like Pulp Fiction, my belief is that the majority of people consider this maybe their second favorite Denis Villeneuve. I don't know if you agree with that, or is it your favorite? I'm curious.
It's not my favorite, but so we'll get into that one in a second. But I do really love Arrival. It's definitely his second best film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See, I think a lot of people do think that. Some people maybe think Blade Runner or Incendie or Prisoners. I think Prisoners is probably my favorite. But I think a lot of people can't deny... I think almost everyone can't deny that Arrival is at least top 3, if not mostly second for some people, and probably a bunch of people's favorites as well. So, I think it's definitely a must-see.
I think it's a must-see, too.
I think it's must-see. Yeah, I can see... I don't know if he's objectively made a masterpiece yet, that everyone could, the majority of people could call a masterpiece. I think everyone finds at least one film from. Maybe Dune will be that, or exactly. Yeah. Maybe it could be. Sicario. So is this your favorite?
Is actually my favorite film from him. Okay. I love Sicario, to be honest.
Right.
I rewatch it all the time. It's probably one of the more rewatchable films of his, to be honest, and I think it gets better every time I watch it. I love it every single time I watch it. It's just so good. Everything from the camera work to the score, and to the occasion when the action does happen. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's well coordinated, and I like that. So
for sure. You know, I think it's a very understandable action movie. You can kind of like get the idea.
It's not really an action movie though. It's more like
I
a
know,
thriller
like
with,
it
more
is
dramatic
but the action pieces, which again are very simple, allow you to kind of easily understand what's going on, right? You know, sometimes in other action movies, even in Rand, sometimes, even though I'd say the actions maybe like what exactly is happening is a little bit incoherent, but Sicario, it's very clearly mapped out thanks to great cinematography, great direction. Even though I think Sicario didn't hit me at near as much as some of these like these other four, I think this like again, and maybe even Polytechnique. So it would probably be good for me personally, but I can definitely put in great. I don't know if are you okay with that? Because I personally
would want to put it in
weaker
must see, but I mean, if you're gonna put it in great,
I think it belongs alongside those three, in my opinion.
I think I would have to put it in front of Incendies, though, to be completely honest with you.
I would not, but we can do that.
I would put it at least put it ahead of Blade Runner. I mean, I'm fine if you want to put it below Incendies. I would personally have it above it, but I still think it's better than Blade Runner, at least. But
we kind of think that tier makes more sense though, because I think I would only maybe give it good at this point. I need to rewatch it though, obviously. Polytechnique. So you haven't seen this, right?
I haven't seen this one yet. No.
Yeah. So this is a very well made movie. I think it's very short, and I think it has a lot of good emotional impact during its pretty short runtime. It's maybe not as technically profound or as impressive as any of these other films. However, I still think it's very well made and very well scripted. The black and white is very interesting, and I think it's very it can really hit you in the feels like Incendie. I think it's other than Incendie, this is maybe his most emotional movie. Prisoners is also somewhat, but I think it's most serious maybe here and Incendie. I think this is I can put it in good for now, only because I think this is probably something you should watch. It's good. It's I think you could probably I almost enjoyed it as much as Blade Runner at home, at least. Blade Runner's probably much better in theater, but I think Polytechnique is still a good movie.
Well, I haven't seen this next one. I haven't seen Enemy.
Enemy.
Have you seen it?
I've seen it.
I do know about the ending with the tarantula. Though,
yeah, it's definitely his weirdest, most thought. What you can take from it what you want kind of thing. There's a lot of things to maybe interpret about this story. Jake Gyllenhaal is very impressive here. He's playing two of himself, and it's very interesting how they distinguish each one, both through Jake Gyllenhaal's performance, the camera work, and what he wears. All of that combined makes it very easy to tell who's who between the two twins, and how different they are. And it's a very interesting and weird movie. It's also shot in Toronto and Mississauga, which I kind of have to give it bonus. It takes place in Toronto.
It's nice when films actually take place in their city instead of actually just using
even though it's
it
not.
as a
It's not maybe they don't explicitly say it compared to Scott Pilgrim specifically saying in the great like mysterious land of Toronto, Canada or something like that. But it's clearly Toronto for anyone who knows what it looks like. I think the CN Tower's clear in one of the tarantula shots. And
I mean, I know that Toronto's not the most exotic location, but I mean, if you're talking about other locations, we've had places in Siberia, Croatia. No offense to those places. I think Toronto's a little bit more exciting than that.
Oh, for sure. I know
it's Canada, but still.
Yeah, no, Toronto, I think, can be comparable to some, like a place like Chicago, personally.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
I've been to Chicago, and they're pretty similar in a lot of ways. Anyways,
exactly.
Maybe just for that, I'm going to give it slightly bonus points, but I'm going to put it on the lower end of great, because I still think it's a pretty great film. I could easily see it being more hated, though, than Polytechnique, and pretty much all these other films, even. I could see someone thinking, even though these two I don't think are going to be too weird, I could see someone being like, this is too weird, so it's maybe underwhelming or bad. I don't think it's trash. There's a lot of great technical things being done, but I still think it's a great film. Anyways... Dune's the last one here, so we might as well put it where we think it's going to be, based on, we've seen a trailer.
Well, I'm hoping that's going to be his masterpiece, and I think I'm fine with putting it up there if you want to do that. I'm really hoping for this film. I think it could be.
I think it's going to be great. However, I think maybe not, since this is a first part, right? So there's going to be 2 parts. I'm going to put this as a must-see, because I think it's still going to be very, very good, even though some people, at least... well, we've had a lot of Oscar discussion. I have a lot of Oscar discussion about this movie with people. Some people think it doesn't look too hopeful, think it might be closer to Blade Runner, as in not too well at the Oscars. But I think it's probably the PG-13 rating helps, shows that they're really trying to go for a more mainstream Star Wars kind of market. And Denis Villeneuve is helped writing it. I think this is one of the first things he's helped written. Along with Eric Roth, who wrote A Star Is Born and a couple other, and he also did Forrest Gump. So they know what they're doing. The second part might be a masterpiece. We'll see. I think or them two combined can be like Lord of the Rings style, but we'll see. I'm gonna put it must see because I don't know.
All right.
The trailer gives you a lot of hope, but we'll see again. But I think this is a good kind of tier list. To summarize his work. I think we did a good job.
All right, sweet.
Definitely
one of the shorter ones we've done, but I'm all for that, to be honest. I like
for
that.
sure. And I think we talked about each one individually more, which I think I like better. Yeah, sure. I think I actually wrote down more about Nightcrawler overall because, well, I don't know, I just did. Because I think there's a little more, like, some details to pick apart more that I got from, only because I watched it a second time, so I was picking up a little more details along with giving my full thoughts on the film.
Okay. Well, then, if that's the case, because I also don't have too much for Ran as well. I think it's a solid film all around. So if you want to start with that, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I put Ran first, so we can start with Ran.
Sweet.
Ran, 1985 film from Akira Kurosawa. I don't remember who stars the main who plays like the King Lear type.
I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that name because I don't want to get canceled or anything. So I mean.
It's just pronouncing it, it's just like,
No, I know, I'm just joking, but still.
Yeah.
That when you're joking, but you mean it.
Yeah, sort of. Anyways, so Akira Kurosawa is obviously a very legendary director. He's known for a lot of his great films, including this, Rashomon, Seven Samurai is probably his most iconic film, along with a bunch of other ones. And I thought this was very interesting because both me and you read King Lear this year for English class. Yes, and it was very interesting. That one. You hated it?
But I really did not. I don't like Shakespeare, but I got to say, this actually makes me like this Shakespeare a little bit more.
But is this, like, out of the Shakespeare you've had to do for English, is this your favorite? Like, was it?
Yeah, no, like, honestly, it probably was. Because, let's be honest, Romeo and Juliet is just romanticizing, like, teenage love. Which is kind of weird, but I guess it was the 1600s, so I understand.
Exactly. Like, I think it's more of an archetype for like a love story that takes it so far as to suicide. Spoilers for Romeo and Juliet, but I guess. But
you really just say spoilers? Oh it's been out for 400 years. I think. I'm talking about spoilers. We're a bit late, but
but. Some people haven't read it and want to be surprised, but I'm pretty sure most people know about like there's some other plays that I still want to read eventually, or like at least watch in movie form, like The Tragedy of Macbeth. I don't know a ton about Macbeth either, though. Is the fact that it's called a tragedy makes me think at least one of the two Macbeths are going to die, because I know there's. But anyways, let's stop talking about that. Let's talk about Ran. What was your favorite like maybe technical aspect of this movie? Because I think there's a lot to appreciate, but what was your personal favorite?
Ooh, okay, technical aspect. Well, I mentioned this a little bit earlier when we were talking about our trivia thing. I love the cinematography, man. I mean, at the time that this came out and what he's able to do, the camera work, I really enjoyed it, to be honest. I'm always akin to the cinematography in films. That's probably my favorite part of many films, and I noticed good cinematography, and I really enjoyed it here. And he kind of has like, and there's a similar thing like that with one of his like earlier masterpieces. That's Seven Samurai. It also has really good camera work, right? And I just think he does a great job at continuing to do that throughout each era he's been doing films in.
For sure. Yeah, I think I know some films that can, I think the cinematography is amazing, right? I do think it's maybe not as good as some of the stuff he even did before. I think Seven Samurai in particular has maybe aged better than this, because I think this has aged a bit, personally. I don't think it was as well shot as Seven Samurai.
Well, I think some of the film techniques in the 80s have kind of aged a little bit. I think maybe
but I think but I think Japanese style is a lot different as well, and specifically what he did with Seven Samurai, I think just revolutionized so much stuff, and it's still a very well shot film by today's standards. And by today's standards, this is still a well shot film. Though I think it's, like I said, I think it's aged a little more. But
No,
still
I'd have to
amazing,
agree.
right?
I mean, like
I know
saw Seven
films
Samurai a while
like
ago, but
specifically
cinematography's good.
that come to mind, like Barry Lyndon and like 2001. Some of Stanley Kubrick stuff, I think, around the same time is better shot. Even though I think Seven Samurai's maybe better than all of those. But this is still very, very well done cinematography. Some of those shots look amazing. You know, they feel like iconic shots when you're watching them. And yeah, I think that was very well done. The production design and scale of it is also very impressive, I gotta say.
I would agree. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, like, you know, the time period is very well defined. You know, all the castles, like the, you know, the big burning, like, you know, especially the big fight scenes in the castles look very realistic. I don't know if they like used miniatures or whatever they did, but it looks very real and very.
I mean,
like,
he probably did. It does look like that. I mean, otherwise,
a little bit.
if they actually burned
but,
like full scale models, then I mean, like that would be even more impressive.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Miniatures,
But,
destroying
like,
miniatures is always good.
Yeah, because either way, I still believe. Like, I don't know which one it was for sure. I'm leaning a little bit more towards miniatures, but for all I don't know what it. And that's I don't know which one. And for that, it's very impressive. And you know, the rest of them kind of help distinct. Like, I think the production design is very well done in that it very much distinguishes locations pretty well. Like, there's a good amount of difference between like the main castle, the second castle, and especially like the ruins and the other places. You know, there's good details added to that. Details talking about that, the costumes, again, were very well done, I gotta say. And what I consider maybe most important about the costumes is that they really help distinguish between the three brothers very well throughout the whole movie, right? It's how, like, you know, he can kind of justify throwing you into these massive, like, fight scenes, because you know kind of whose men each brother has based on the color, especially because they're wearing those colors from the very beginning. If you remember, like, the younger brother wears blue, the older brother wears red. So the second, like, the middle brother wears red, and then the oldest brother wears yellow. So that helps you understand who's who instantly, and then kind of like once they establish that, and then throughout the rest of the fight scenes, you know who's who, right? I think that's very impressive.
Yeah.
Very good use.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree. I do love the costumes there. They're also very good. I mean, and this, like, kind of seeing it, like, seeing this story portrayed in this way, I think it does make me like Shakespeare just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Than, like, but that's not saying much, but I do love this adaptation quite a bit, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I never heard of it before. I mean, like, I'm curious as to where you heard about it, but I mean, it's definitely a great film. And
I've been
very long though. Like, it took me a while to get through it. I mean, like, it was 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I don't know if it's just me, but films like from ages ago that are like that long, they kind of seem to drag just a tiny bit. But this film, for the most part, doesn't do too bad of a job at that. I don't think it's like overall. I don't think it feels too slow, but there are scenes that kind of feel like they could be a little bit faster. Maybe it's just because I'm used to the filming techniques.
I personally, What was very interesting about this film was first of all, the wide shots were very prominent and very good looking. But especially the amount of wide shots used in dialogue scenes were very interesting. And how, you know, most movies, especially American ones, have a lot of reverse shot for dialogue scenes. This film literally never had that, right? Like, they never matched shots, really, you know? I think that's a very impressive part of this film. Like, they were able to communicate so much through... Akira Kurosawa was very much focused on movement. But also, I think these dialogue scenes are very interesting in how the people move while they're acting and delivering the dialogue. I think that's very interesting. I think the acting is very good all across the board as well. I really like the King Lear character and the actor who played him. I think he was very interesting and very... You know, like, King Lear, sometimes reading it can sound like, you know, like, how do you act this out? Because it sounds like, you know, how do you act like you're crazy all of us? Like, it feels like almost all of a sudden, right? You're kind of just not doing anything, and all of a sudden he has to act like, oh, he sees, like, God or something, right? And, you know, he acts a little crazy all of a sudden. And I think he pulls that off pretty well, because that could easily, you know, in the hands of a worse actor, that could be very cringe. The military general, I also really liked. I think he was an interesting character. He gets that very epic moment with, you know, also what's, like, where he, spoiler territory, ends the the wife, or the wife of the the older brother who tries to seduce the younger brother. He gets that great moment, and I think he's a very interesting character in that way. And I like the actor as well. What was interesting about like shots like that is the color is very well used. Again, the costumes help with that a lot. It's just like an interesting film to look at just in general. It's eye candy, I'd say. And color also, plays a pretty important role in a lot of these scenes, especially those battle scenes. So, I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would agree.
Did you have a
with you there.
favorite character?
Hmm?
Did you have like a favorite character from this movie?
Fuck, I'm just trying to remember their names. I might need to consult.
Yeah, I don't know. You
No.
could probably do it based on like, just the King Lear roles. I don't like.
Yeah, I don't even remember all the names in King Lear.
Okay. That's sad. Like,
I'm sorry.
I don't either. To be fair, I know like I know the youngest sister who's like the one who speaks her mind and is very honest, right? And then the older ones, I don't remember their exact names.
Okay, all right. Well, I see the Japanese names, but also the Wikipedia does this great thing where it's given us the equivalent in the original ones. I do like the actor who was playing Edmund. Who's the equivalent to Edmund, I should say. And in the film, her name is Lady Cade, I believe.
Yeah, she was very good, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And I think her being a woman maybe added another layer. Even though I think, you could accuse Kurosawa of maybe being a little anti-feminist by taking these. Well, like obviously these characters can be, like the sisters can be viewed either as feminist, like good feminist, or just like despicable women, depending on what point of view you want to take. And I think both have some arguments. But the fact that Edmund's like now becomes a woman adds another layer to that because she's in how she deals with the men particularly, and I think it was very interesting to see that aspect from a more feminist female perspective. And I guess that's also why I like a film like The Favorite by Yorgos Lanthimos, because which is a very cool drama that has a lot of these kind of dynamics happening. And I think I maybe like The Favorite more in theory just because of how it's more modernly shot, and the drama I think is more interesting. I already mentioned the costumes; they're amazing. It made a lot of sense to give this an Oscar. I think, what was maybe the most interesting thing was the ending. But personally, I didn't get that. It was a very mysterious kind of ending, I think. I know he would want to say something important there. I'm just not sure what he was trying to say, because it was clearly somewhat metaphorical with that shot of Buddha and the blind character kind of at the edge of the cliff. And like I said, I don't think this film looks as good as Seven Samurai, but the fog and the colors and the wide shot and some of the epic moments make up for that. And I think the characters here I like more than in Seven Samurai. I know I'm comparing, but that's the only Kurosawa film I've seen, so I kind of want to compare it a little bit in my head. Yeah. But I also think the Seven Samurai characters are really good. The score is very well done. I think the flute stuff very much fits the time period. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say about this film?
I mean, I never have too much to say about it. I don't know. I don't want to like reveal too much about it, just because I want the audience to experience it like kind of like firsthand, like I did. But I'm all good, man. But I assume because you have a few more things to say. So
yeah, I've gone through most of what I want to say. I do.
Okay, well, like well, tell me quickly so we can
for
get
sure.
on to the next one.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think we have some time, though. I think this has been a short episode. Anyways, great. I think this is a pretty great epic in that way.
Yeah.
And I think I like the pacing a lot. I think, at least for me, every scene was very interesting. So I didn't mind that they were maybe dragged on a little bit, because I think what dragged on was very interesting to me. Even though when the first fight scene started to happen, I wasn't exactly sure what was going on. But the rest of this movie, I was completely invested. And, a lot of movies haven't been getting me this invested in it since, in a long time. So this was definitely one of the best to do it. And also, I don't think it's maybe my favorite epic kind of movie. I would maybe reserve that for something like Children of Men. Or my favorite drama, I might reserve that for something like The Favorite or a couple other movies. But I think this is maybe my favorite epic drama, is what I'm going to say in the end. And I really, really like this film. again, masterful filmmaking all around. Masterful in almost every aspect. In every aspect, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Akira Kurosawa is a fucking legend in cinema. I mean, like, it's a shame not as many people know about him as is deserved. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
It took me a while to actually like hear about him, which is, kind of my bad. It's on my part, I guess. I mean, like, I don't think I heard about him until I saw the remake of The Magnificent Seven that came out in 2016. I know. Look, I know.
But I mean, I guess that's one of the good parts of films like that is that it can bring you awareness of the legend that made those films and why people wanted to imitate them, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And again, for a Shakespeare adaptation, this is also really interesting, right? This is definitely. I haven't like. It's definitely better than like the Romeo and Juliet movie made by fucking Baz Luhrmann. I don't think I like him that much, anyways.
No, let's not even get started on that.
Yeah,
man.
Let's not. Yeah, we don't have to get into that.
I mean, I will say one thing though. The kind of I knew the movie shit as soon as I saw Jamie Kennedy lick his own nipple. I mean, like that was where it just went off the rails, man.
Yeah. All right.
Shall we get into a score then, or?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What is yours? I'm curious.
Well, first time seeing it. I mean, given everything I saw, I mean, like, obviously it's not his best film. I still think that Seven Samurai. Obviously, I mean, like, I didn't end up seeing that one in the end, but I'd have to give this one a 9. Still, I really liked it, man.
I think it's very good. So did you say you like Seven Samurai better than this movie?
Yeah, I mean, like, because after I saw the Magnificent Seven, I was like, maybe I should check out. Inspired this, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I was, definitely pleased. I really enjoyed that one too. I can't remember how. I think that one was very long too, but
I think it's longer than this film by like 45 minutes maybe. And I think maybe I like the characters better in Ran, even though I think Seven Samurai is better shot. So for that reason, I gave both films a 10 out of 10. I give this one a 10 out of 10. I think. I really don't have anything to complain about. It's amazing. And I was very interested throughout. And there was only one moment where I was confused that lowered it a bit for me in my head. But frankly, that was just my fault. And I know when I watch this again, I think this is easily going to be a perfect movie. Especially if I get that ending. This is going to be... Yeah. But I still think it's amazing. There's nothing to complain about. It's great.
No.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. Great film. Let's move on to Nightcrawler, I guess. This is a 2014 film directed by Dan Gilroy, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, and Riz Ahmed. And
young Riz Ahmed, man. Well, relatively young. Yeah. I mean, he did a ton of British films before that, and he was. But I mean, like, this is kind of one of his first bigger American films, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for sure.
So. Yeah. Yeah, look at what he's become. I actually forgot he was in this. I mean, it's kind of a similar situation to I was telling you about Daniel Kaluuya being in fucking Johnny English Reborn.
Yeah.
But not to say that these two films are any way comparable, because Nightcrawler is fantastic. I love it, man. Fucking Jake Gyllenhaal is so good in the lead role. I can't believe he didn't get nominated for an Oscar.
It is true.
I remember what.
Yeah, the 2014 Best Actor lineup was definitely botched very hard, in my opinion, especially with.
Who got nominated over him?
They nominated Steve Carell for Foxcatcher, and fucking who the fuck else? Because they botched this real bad. There was it should have been different. The other one was Bradley Cooper in American Sniper. Yeah, I haven't seen that film, but I can't imagine he's better.
I've seen American Sniper. He's okay. He's good. I don't know if he really deserved a nomination, though. I feel like if it meant Jake Gyllenhaal not getting nominated, then no.
You see,
should have been nominated.
What should have probably happened here, in my opinion, is that Michael Keaton was robbed, first of all, by Eddie Redmayne that year. But then they also should have put, first of all, Jake Gyllenhaal should have been in here over Bradley Cooper, for example. Ralph Fiennes from the Grand Budapest Hotel should have been over Steve Carell, very much in my opinion. And then I would probably put David Oleo from Selma over Eddie Redmayne. And that would have been and that would have been probably one of the best lineups of all time. I guess you could maybe put Benedict Cumberbatch or Eddie Redmayne. You can swap them out, in my opinion. But if they had that lineup, it would have been the best of all time, but instead we kind of got an average to mediocre bad one. But no, they botched it. They also didn't give it to the proper winner. They gave it to Eddie Redmayne instead of Michael Keaton. Was
And then like right after he did,
Yeah,
he won
yeah.
that,
There's
did
that
both the
iconic moment
Jupiter
where he puts
Ascending.
the and then yeah, but also there's the moment where Michael Keaton had his like potential like acceptance speech out, and then you can see him shoving it in his jacket pocket as Eddie Redmayne goes up to win the Oscar. It's quite tragic.
That's
It's quite tragic.
ooh, that
Anyways, let's talk about the
Yeah.
film. I don't know. What
Yeah.
was maybe your favorite aspect of this film?
Ooh, well, aside from Jake Gyllenhaal, I've already kind of touched on that a little
Yeah.
bit. I think he's fantastic. I also love I love just how I love the writing for his character.
Yeah.
Like the way he talks, you can tell he's like secretly a dick, but he's trying so hard to present himself as like a good guy who's just struggling to make ends meet,
Yeah.
and just wants a chance at fame and fortune, right? But really,
I don't know
he just
about
wants
fame,
it
more
too.
just like money. Just like
Money, I should say.
because like
Yeah,
at this
no,
point,
you're
yeah,
correct,
like
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
just to be able
But
to
still,
live.
I mean, like the writing in this film is fantastic. I also love the handheld scenes that they have for when he's actually documenting like these like horrific crimes for like the news. Like it's kind of cool, especially that
Yeah.
scene where the cop car flips over. Like that's done really well.
Yeah, I
thought, with
think
the
yeah,
camera.
Robert Elswit did the cinematography of this movie. I think he does
Yeah.
a great job. I was specifically impressed with how he used depth of field. I was really cool how he was like there's that wide shot with the monitor for like the news thing that has him in focus when he's approaching the desk, and then translates the depth of focus to the actual monitor. And he does something similar things throughout the rest of the movie, and I think it's very well done. This movie wasn't made for a lot of money, and for what they did a very good job. The chase scene. It's not the best chase scene in cinema, but it's still a very good chase scene, Like, it's
for
still
real.
very good.
I still think the best chase scene in cinema is either was chasing like the fucking Harvey Dent through like Gotham City, right? But or like the scene or the chase from Bullet. I think those are like two of the best
I
ones, to
think
be honest with you.
Bullet, Baby Driver, and Drive are maybe some of the best car chases. I really like Baby Drivers personally because the stuff they sync up to the music is really cool. Anyways, what else do I want to say? I don't know. There's a lot to talk about this film. I think again, the way they write Jake Gyllenhaal's character is very interesting because again, like you said, I really like that scene. That kind of purposely encapsulates his characters where he's talking to that like kind of rival Nightcrawler, and he's like politely saying, "I want to grab you by the ears and shout in your face, I'm not fucking interested." And the way he says that so politely, and it just encapsulates his character so well. Because he's so angry because like he says, he doesn't like people, right? So he's probably just angry at everyone. But of course, if he appears like an asshole completely, instantly, he knows he's never going to get anywhere. So he's trying so
he has to present
badly.
himself as polite. I mean, like even when he tries to get a job at the construction site at the beginning of the movie, he's like, I have a motto. Like, ooh.
Yeah, he has a motto.
Like, what is it again? It's something crazy. It's
yeah,
like,
if you want to win the lottery, you got to make the
winning
money
ticket.
to buy a ticket. Yeah, and I think that's cool. So
That's an iconic movie
interesting.
quote right
Yeah.
there. Actually, I like that one.
Yeah,
a
I
lot.
think his opening monologue also is very like that whole speech before he says that is also very well written. And while there is a couple lines that I consider iconic, I don't think the entirety of this thing, like his speech, is iconic. What was very interesting about his character though is how much like his looks when they cut back to him in a lot of these situations, when he's just like kind of sitting in the background kind of laughing or like smiling when he like sees Renee watching like the footage he's captured. Renee Russo, or Nina's character. That's one thing I don't understand about this movie is why all of a sudden she's so into into the fact that spoilers for Nightcrawler. I want to get into that a little bit. How he let Riz Ahmed's character Richard die. She's all of a sudden like so impressed by that. Even though before she was like creeped out by him, all of a sudden she's like seems to be into that a little bit. It's a little weird.
Strange.
It feels like
I do admit that's a bit weird.
It's that's maybe the only like weird thing that really doesn't make too much sense, but it makes a little bit of sense. Not
Yeah, but you gotta remember that like Lou Bloom is like he's a expert at manipulation, right? Like he took her out to dinner just so that he could like get her to like him more, and then she would give him preference for these stories, right? So he's managed to charm her just enough to make what he did, even though it was horrific, sound heroic. You know? So,
I don't know if I would agree with that interpretation. My interpretation,
bit.
a little bit, because I think
Yeah.
it's very clear that like Lou is into Nina, and he kind of that's kind of one of the benefits he wants from that like working relationship, because obviously he clearly says he could get the money anywhere else, but he likes Nina, and he wants to like have at least work with her and maybe have a relationship beyond that. He makes that kind of clear, right? It's also kind of funny how in Sound of Metal, Riz Ahmed's character, also his girlfriend's also called Lou, which is kind of funny. So he's like, that's kind of funny.
Maybe he's been reincarnated. I think that there's a shared universe there with the two movies or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the score is pretty great. I think it works pretty well with most of the scenes. I think the last track is my favorite, which is a little bit of a shame considering it's mostly just for the end credits, but I think, it still helps hit that last moment of this movie. And I think this movie has a great ending because, that last speech, I wouldn't ask you guys to do anything I wouldn't do. Kind of idea is really funny considering all he basically was willing to kill people for this job. So basically saying, you could maybe get the idea that he might ask them to do some of the things that he's been doing, even though Rick clearly wasn't going to do, he was sort of on the edge. And that's what also was very impressive about this film is how much there was kind of two big points that last finale when he sets up the the final confrontation to film between the cops and the people who stole the drug money from that house, is how he clearly set up Rick to get shot, so that way, one, he gets more news coverage and can sell a better story, and two, he gets rid of Rick, who was threatening to go to the cops and tell them all about what he's been doing. So, he kills two birds with one stone. It's a very well-written scenario, and it's very believable. Yeah. And, there's not a lot of other films I can think of instantly that set things up that well. And so that's a very impressive thing about this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, is that all? I mean, would you like?
Yeah. Let me mention a couple more things, because I always.
All right.
Good thing. I think it has a pretty interesting commentary on, news and even violent movies, because while obviously violent movies I think make us more interested in violence, which can somewhat translate to the news, but it's mostly about how in the news we people say how they clearly said that apparently people watch local news to keep up with local news, but it's mostly about it's basically just a different fucked up form of entertainment essentially about maybe you don't enjoy it, right, but you're still sucked into these stories, right? And it is about social standing, and Lou clearly rigs the system so that he can create these stories that he knows that the people who have money and influence will watch and care about, right? And then how that industry kind of creates someone like Bloom, who if this isn't the most impossible scenario in the world, even though you can kind of imagine someone might be like Bloom in that they don't really care about people, the quote, no regard for human life from they sometimes say when people dunk on others. That's literally what happens here. He has no regard for human life, so then he exploits that fact for profit, and he just gives the news what they want, and they're trying to Renee to an extent is trying to be more ignorant of how he gets the footage because she just wants to fuel her career. And I said, this film is very well shot. I can't believe Jake Gyllenhaal missed out on a nomination. The sound design, the technical aspects all across the board, well done. I don't think there's anything weak about it that I noticed, at least. The other actors, Riz Ahmed and Rene Russo, serve their roles well, even though I don't think they really get a moment to shine. But it mostly because it really is about Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah, I mean it's interesting how they do that though, because Lou is such a self-centered character, and as a
But he's like a human self-centered character, right?
Yeah.
Compared to Jake, who's or Lou Bloom, who's just a self-centered sociopath, basically. Yeah. The first half of this movie, I think, is a little bit weaker, because while it's interesting, it helps set up the amazing second half of the movie. I do think there is some ways they could have maybe made some of the parts of the first part interesting, but I think the second half is maybe a 10 out of 10, especially how that last sequence of events when he sets up that last drug house robbery, and that stuff works so well. And again, that's a part where I really couldn't take my eyes off the screen. It's so entertaining and well done.
Is there?
It's really funny. It's also little bit. I don't know if you noticed. There's a moment where he like cuts the brake line, and then the rival guy crashes. I actually didn't pick that up on my first watch. I didn't notice that. I thought
No, I didn't either. Actually,
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I thought, it's also a very interesting way to show early in the movie how cutthroat he is. He's just like, if he wants to get rid of competition, he doesn't really care if anyone gets hurt. He's just gonna do what he needs to do, kind of thing. He obviously doesn't want to take it over the line, right? But he also just wants to get shit done. Yeah, and again, very well written character. All of the speeches are very interesting and very much work. They all feel like they have the same voice as a character. And yeah, they establish his character very well through scenes, like especially that like one bike thing where he's like lecturing about how I won tour to Mexico on this bike. This bike has 23 gears. I bought it 8,000 new, $2,500 that's giving away. Like that kind of stuff is really interesting. And yeah. It's also really funny how it says like warning graphic content on his television before he gets really angry and breaks the mirror, and that really like pretty iconic moment, at least from an acting perspective. Yeah. And it's an interesting scene. Yeah, and this is just a great movie. You should watch it if you haven't. Unfortunately, Dan Gilroy hasn't really done anything as good as this since. He's had a very much M. Night sort of trajectory of his career. Like, he made this movie called Roman J. Israel Esquire, which was okay. And Denzel even got an Oscar nomination for that. I can't believe Denzel could get an Oscar nomination, but Jake for that movie, but Jake couldn't get one for this. It's kind of whack. Yeah. And then he made this movie.
Well, he's Denzel, man.
I mean, he is Denzel. But also he made this film called Velvet Buzzsaw, which apparently was very bad. But hopefully he can get out of his M. Night phase and try to make something closer to Nightcrawler again. Here's hoping. But this is still a great movie, and even if this is the only movie he makes, this is still a great movie, and that makes him a good director overall. Like, like it's like how James Cameron, like I can consider him maybe not the best director across the line, but he still made some classics, so I can't completely think he's a piece of garbage for that, right? Same with M. Night. Sixth Sense is a classic. The other films, even though like are not nearly as good in my opinion. Unbreakable's okay. It's good.
I'd argue Split could be a classic down the line. I mean,
I don't know. I think
just
people kind of forgot about it. A little bit, especially the way that Glass went up. Like like the way they set up Glass as well. I think that kind of hurt it a bit as well. I really don't.
I mean, because Glass was kind of weak.
I really don't hear anybody talking about Split these days. But anyways, as far as a score for Nightcrawler, what are you giving it?
Sorry, hold on. Yeah, cinnamon down my breathing tube. Okay, I'd probably give it I think I'd give it a 9. To be honest with you, I really enjoyed it. Because I mean, you are right. The second half is pretty amazing, but the first half is a little weaker, which I do understand.
It's still good, right? But I think it's more focused on setting up stuff, which it does very well. And I think there's some ways you could maybe make it a little more interesting, but it's still very good, right? I have to give it the same score, 9 out of 10. I was gonna maybe give it an 8 based on that first half, but no, that second half is amazing, so I got to give it a 9. Great movie for sure. Watch it. And that's us wrapping up. So, anyways, quickly, do you have any film recommendations from the past few days that you've watched other than something for this podcast?
Already. Well, no, I have not seen any films yet. I'm trying to focus on those, right? And yes, I know the 2020 movies soon. I just need to make some time. But
don't worry.
I have been watching.
We got time.
I've been watching a bit of TV. Like I said, I watched The Bad Batch. That was pretty solid. As a Star Wars fan, I loved it. I mean, and even coming from a standpoint, it's just looking at it like regular TV. It was done pretty well. I think the crazy part is, I mean, D. Bradley Baker, right? I mean, he's the guy who voices all the clone troopers. That man has got some elastic vocal cords because he has so much to do for this show,
right?
And even the Clone Wars shows in general, he voices the entire Bad Batch by itself.
Right.
That's
pretty impressive. Man. Yeah, I gotta say that is pretty impressive.
And there's all the other clone troopers in the show as well. Not to mention a few side characters that come and go. I mean, it's insane. But other than that, I have also watched this other show. It's a Spanish TV show. It's called Elite. It's not something I would normally go for. It's kind of it's borrowing on soap opera type drama, but it's kind of fun, man. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
And it's about these rich kids at this fucking school in fucking Madrid. I don't know. It's really stupid, but I love it.
Do you know the title?
No, it's called Elite.
Okay. Oh, I've heard of that actually. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I can understand
Got a
that
pretty
little bit.
rabid fan
Yeah,
base.
it's really interesting. I'm quickly looking at like the Bad Batch score on IMDb. If if it stays this way, which who knows, but if it stays around this similar trajectory, I think it's like based on that score, it's like top 10 on IMDb for TV shows. If it's
What is it on IMDb?
right now, it's at a 9.2 out of 1,639 ranks for the whole show, of course.
Damn.
The first episode only has a 9.1 though, so not everyone rated it, I guess, but those who'd some. It's a little bit dumb again to rate the entire show. The 9.1 makes a little more sense though. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I guess I need to check that out considering how much people like that, and I like Clone Wars a lot, so I need to check this out eventually. Anyways, I might as well announce what we're gonna do for our next episode. We can do one. We'll do this one this weekend, specifically Saturday. I'm gonna have my friend Chnuth on the podcast. He expressed some interest.
Nice, Chnuth.
Yeah, he expressed some
Sweet.
interest, and I asked him. He said he would be down for that. So the film he decided to pick was The Conjuring. Which I haven't seen.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I know. I figure you've seen that before. Yeah. Directed
Huzzah,
by
man of quality.
James Wan, 2013 film, I believe. So we're gonna be watching that. Oh, actually, before I announce, we discuss what we should recommend for him to watch and for us to watch as well. My film recommendations of this past 3 days. This movie called Brighter Summer Day from this other Asian director from Taiwan. His name is Edward Yang. He's very good at what he does. I think I like Kurosawa's films a little bit better, but his are still also very masterful. They're some of the highest things rated on Letterboxd, which is what I use a lot. Brighter Summer Day is a very good film from him, even though I think I like his other film called Yi Yi more, because I wasn't invested in this film, but still very masterfully made. But it's also 4 hours. But, I think it's definitely better than Justice League, even though I still haven't seen that. I might have to recommend that on the podcast. I don't know if I want to make you rewatch. I don't know. Would you would you be willing to rewatch Justice League?
Yes.
Okay.
I would
So
watch it
I
again,
may
even though it's
recommend
4
that on the
hours.
podcast one day. But anyways, my other recommendation quickly is Chinatown by known good guy Roman Polanski.
God.
Starring Chinatown. Obviously, it stars
Hello, children.
Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. The white actors, but I don't know. It's still a good movie. Apparently, it's very well written. Maybe I should just call it by the writers, because Roman Polanski didn't write this movie. It was made by someone else, and it's mostly known for its writing and its setups. But it's a pretty good movie. Check it out. I guess it was on Amazon Prime. It isn't anymore, so I don't know. I'm watching it on something else. It's like this library thing. Anyways, let's try to figure out what we want to do. What do we want to recommend Chnuth to watch alongside The Conjuring? I don't know.
Good question.
What do you?
I will consult my Netflix library right now.
I see.
See what we got here. Yeah. I don't know.
I'll mention the two films that are coming out. There's Monster, which is a Netflix film starring Kevin Harrelson Jr., which is about a young African American teenager who gets accused of murder, and it's mostly about the trial and his life. I have this film called God's Own Country by what's his freaking name? It's a gay movie. That's all I remember. It's about.
Nice.
I don't want to just call it the gay movie because I know it's about more than that. But I cannot remember any other details. I know it's a good movie. I cannot remember it. Please.
You got the gay pass, sir. You're fine.
Francis Lee is the director, starring Josh O'Connor. Yeah. Oh, it also has cinematography by the cinematographer of Nomadland, Joshua James Richards. So that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do that. I also have Coraline. That's on it's on Netflix.
I actually haven't seen Coraline.
I've been meaning to watch that.
watch.
You want to watch? Okay,
Yeah.
so which of the three? Monster, God's Own, or what do you have? Do you have anything you want to push?
Nah, man, I got nothing. I'm fine with Coraline, to be honest. That'll be all right.
All right,
Yeah.
yeah, we can do Coraline. Yeah,
Sweet.
that makes sense. All right, we'll do Coraline then. So yeah, I guess this weekend on Saturday, me, Aiden, and Chnuth are going to be discussing The Conjuring and Coraline.
Yeah, very dark weekend. My God.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
geez.
going for a dark theme. We're going.
It's
Even
weird
though
that it's
Coraline's
Mother's
still a
Day
kids
weekend as
movie
well.
though, still a kids movie
Yeah.
though. But
Yeah.
yeah. 2009 film by Henry Selick. If you want to watch that with us, it's on Netflix Canada. If you're in the United States, I don't know how you watch it. Just figure it out yourself, I guess. Good luck.
Suck it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's all we can do for now, and I guess that's the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, make sure to go follow Aiden at Instagram. Make sure to go check out my YouTube channel. Got 2023 Oscar predictions coming out. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That was a joke. Even though I do have a doc of. It's mainly. I just basically anticipate what movies are coming out through Oscar predictions, right? That's kind of how I roll for the most part, right? You know.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, I still have I put Thor: Love and Thunder at it's not going to get nominated for Best Picture probably, but I still have it on the list because it is a film that's coming out in 2022. So and there's a lot of other stuff to look forward to. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. See you guys in the next one. See you guys.